How pathetically predictable. After a former miner turned Red Wall Tory who understands the real issues facing Brits today and is about as far from the Westminster establishment as you can get, well, after he becomes Tory party chairman, the MSM and political class go into overdrive to deride him, to mock him and to belittle him. The treatment of Lee Anderson, who coincidentally is a regular on this show, these past few days has exposed the left's hatred of the working class.
I look back fondly on the period of my life when I was unaware of Lee Anderson's existence. He's a bit like a sort of showerhead. He's like an out-of-control showerhead. And everyone's going to get wet. And at some point someone's going to say, why did you put him in a more prominent position, Rishi Sunak?
Well, look, 30p Lee is a loose cannon and a liability.
Lee Anderson is a great example of what is wrong with the Conservative Party.
It was left to Penny Mordaunt in the House today to take on the 30p Lee clowns and unveil a far more appropriate moniker.
Many in her party like to refer to him as 30p Lee, but I can tell you his constituents and many people across the whole of the United Kingdom refer to him as he stands up for me, Lee.
Absolutely. Now, today's confected outrage is around the fact Lee backed the death penalty in an interview with The Spectator. He said nobody has ever committed a crime after being executed. You know that, don't you? 100% success rate. Now, Lee's position on capital punishment is not a secret. This is what he had to say on this very show last month about the illegal migrant who stabbed to death the aspiring Royal Marine after hoodwinking soft-touch authorities.
He's a creature, he's not a man. He's a creature that's murdered abroad, he's come here, he's told lies, he's been put in foster care, it's cost the British taxpayer thousands and thousands of pounds, and now we're going to put him in prison for 20 odd years, it's going to cost the British taxpayer thousands and thousands of pounds again. That's not the answer, and I think the answer is, and I'll say this with a heavy heart, it's probably at the end of a rope. I believe in the death penalty for cases like this.
So he's not hiding anything. But the hysteria today, of course, meant Rishi Sunak had to give in to the establishment and the MSM and rebuke what Lee was saying.
You say to your colleagues who want to bring back the death penalty in this country?
Well, that's not my view, that's not the government's view.
Now, the media coverage on this issue today would make you think Lee is somehow on the fringes of society. But that's simply not true. A YouGov poll from just last month found 52% of Brits think the death penalty should apply in cases of multiple murder, with 49% backing it for child murderers and terrorists, and 30% for all cases of murder. So even though I worry hugely about the risk of miscarriages of justice, as someone whose policeman uncle was killed by a violent career criminal, I understand why public support for the death penalty remains so high. Those politicians attacking Lee Anderson are actually attacking many of the people they are meant to represent. It's intellectual snobbery, pure and simple.